it's Emily here, and it is time for monthly recommendations once again. Monthly recommendations is a Goodreads group hosted by Kayla, Rain, and Trina from Between Chapters, where each month we recommend books according to the topic that they have chosen for the month. And this month we are talking about our auto by authors, the authors that we love them so much that no matter what they write, we will read them and we will buy their books. And well, I have a pretty decent stack of books of authors that I really love, so here we go. First up is Elizabeth Chadwick, and she writes adult historical fiction focused on the medieval time period, and I just adore her. I have not read all of her books yet, but I definitely intend to, and I recommend starting with The Greatest Night. This is the first book I read by Elizabeth Chadwick, and every person I recommended this book to have also gotten hooked on Elizabeth Chadwick's writing from this book. And she also has a bunch of other books that kind of they correspond with this book. They're all standalones, and you can read them all individually. You don't have to read them in any particular order, but a lot of them can tie back to The Greatest Night because it kind of follows the life of Sir William Marshall. He was the greatest knight, as the title says, of his time period, and he served under King Richard, so like King Richard of Robin Hood fame. And what's really interesting about Elizabeth Chadwick is that all of her characters, at least in this kind of series of books, are all real people. These are people in history who actually existed, and she is so historically accurate that you really are getting a history lesson as you're reading her books, but you don't feel like you're getting a history lesson because she just writes it so well. And I love her author's notes at the end of each book where she kind of explains all of her research and what she's done. She does have some kind of unconventional research methods that I'm not really sure how I feel about it, but she does write great books, and I will read anything that she writes, and I will hopefully read all of her books someday. Next up is Rainbow Rowell. I just really love her books. There's a couple of them that I wasn't a huge fan of. I know a lot of people really loved Eleanor and Park. It wasn't necessarily my favorite. And a lot of people really love Carry On, which I did really like Carry On, but there were other books I liked more. But because I have loved her other books, she is definitely one of my auto-buy authors that even if I don't love her book, I will still enjoy it enough to buy it. And so Fangirl is one of my all-time favorites by her. I also really love Attachments. And I would say I would start anywhere with any of her books. I definitely recommend reading Fangirl before you read Carry On, but you don't necessarily have to do it in that order. That's just the order that I prefer. And all of her other books are all standalones, and so you really can start wherever you want. And I just really like her books because she writes so realistically where you can totally relate to her characters and connect with them, but they're also like really super adorable, and it gives me the feeling of, oh, these are things that could actually happen to me in real life, versus other books where you're sitting there thinking, oh, I wish that would happen to me. And I think it's just a really cool way that she writes stories. And then I'm sure nobody is surprised by my next one, and that is Becky Albertalli, the author of Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda and The Upside of Unrequited. If you've been around for a while, you may recall that I read Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda 4 times last year. Yeah, and then I read her second book, The Upside of Unrequited, this past year, and I just devoured it in a day, and it was super delightful. I definitely recommend reading Simon first because this one kind of correlates with Simon, even though it does focus on other characters, and you don't really see a whole lot, and I think she does do a good job of keeping this book pretty spoiler-free of Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda. However, I still think that you should read this one first. But again, if you want to read this one first, it's not the end of the world. Then my next one, I'm sure, is not a surprise for anybody, and I'm sure a lot of people have her on their list, and that is J.K. Rowling, who wrote Harry Potter and The Casual Vacancy, and under the name Robert Galbraith, the Cormoran Strike novels. And yeah, I will read anything that she writes. Even though I wasn't a huge fan of The Casual Vacancy, I didn't think it was still really well done. And with her thriller books, I had bought the first one when it first came out, like when we first found out that she was the author of it. I picked it up, but it took me years to read it. But then once I did finally pick it up, I bought the other books immediately. And I really want the fourth one out, so I can read that one as well. And just, she's the queen. I have to buy anything that she writes because she's the queen. Then there is Erin Morgenstern, the author of The Night Circus. This is one of my all-time favorite books for forever and ever, and that will never ever change. And I just adore this book so much, and I just want everybody to love this book and to read this book and to just be happy with it the way I am happy with it. However, she hasn't written any more books since this one. I've seen on Twitter and her blog on occasion, she'll talk about that she is supposedly writing something, but she hasn't published anything yet. And I want to be patient because, you know, writing takes a lot of time, but I'm like, I need more. I need more of her writing. And so someday, if she ever publishes something, I will buy it immediately. Immediately. Then we have, and I'm sure it's no surprise to anybody, Sara J Maas, who wrote the Throne of Glass series and the Court of Thorns and Roses series. You can start with either of these series. I personally like Throne of Glass the best, but I do really love this series as well. And I know there are so many problematic issues that people have with Sara J Maas, and I am really looking forward to her future books to see how and if she fixes those problematic elements, because a lot of them kind of came out when she was in the middle of writing these series, and I can see how it would be a challenge to fix them when you're in the middle of the series and writing it. So I'm really hoping that it gets better as she writes more, so we will see how that goes. And I always am so torn because I know a lot of people have problems with her writing and some of her stuff in her books, but at the same time, especially like the main character in Throne of Glass and some of these other characters, like I've just connected with them so much, and they just mean so much to me that I just love them. And I as of right now, she's one of my auto-buy authors. Like I just love these books a lot. I am Sara J Maas trash. And finally, there is Stephanie Perkins, who wrote the Anna and the French Kiss trilogy, and she also edited some young adult short story compilations, and I just love her. I love Anna and the French Kiss trilogy. I definitely recommend starting with Anna and the French Kiss with her. And again, it's like that contemporary, realistic young adult fiction, but it is so relatable and so cute, and just makes you feel really good, and makes you think that like really happy things could happen in life, and you just need something happy and fun. Read Stephanie Perkins, although she's coming out with a slasher book this year, which I'm torn about. I'm totally gonna read it because I love her, but I'm curious. So yeah. And then there is Charlie and Homburg, and she is the author of the Paper Magician trilogy, and I adored the Paper Magician trilogy. I thought they were so good. I definitely say this is a great place to start. She does have some standalone books, and a couple of them I haven't read yet. She has The Fifth Doll, which is a horror, and that is coming out this summer. And last year, she had a Magic Bender, a Magic Suite come out, which I have, but I haven't read it yet. And then there is followed by Frost, which I have read. And I just really love her, and I think her books are really cute and fun, and also like super kind of weird. Like you don't think it's going to be really weird, and then it gets really weird, and it's awesome. Those are my auto-buy authors that I was able to narrow it down to, and I would love to hear about the authors that you will buy their books no matter what they write. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the comments, and I will see you later with another video. Bye!